A very warm good morning to all of you. Daksha Pant, I welcome you all here again. For so far, we have had three tutorial students who have discussed various topics and they have also shared their viewpoints. We have seen different childhoods, how the neglect parenting affects the childhood, and we have also seen childhood from through gender spectrum. Now, I would like to represent you all Tutorial 4 to share their viewpoints on the following topics. Over to you, Tutorial 4.
Is- Hello. May I start, ma'am?
Yes, please.
चेहरे के रंगों से परे बोलने के ढंगों से परे चेहरे के रंगों से परे बोलने के ढंगों से परे मेरे बचपन में कुछ जुनून था कुछ सुकून भी था और कुछ खेल का सहारा था और माँ का आंचल तो सबसे ज्यादा प्यारा था. Happy morning to all. Today I, Priyanka Mishra, along with my tute members, are going to give presentation on multiple childhood. Childhood is the most fun and memorable time in anyone's life. It's the first stage in which we enjoy our life the way we want. This is a very important time in which children should live free from fear, safe from violence, and protected from abuse and exploitation. If we talk about multiple childhood, it refers to different kind of childhood seen in a society or in a country based on its environment. Now, I would like specifically on childhood of those children whose parents have criminal background. Now, our first bullet point is can make child emotionally weak. बस 1 मिनट के लिए ऐसा कल्पना कीजिए कि आप स्कूल में गए और जो दोस्त आपसे घंटों बात किया करते थे वो आज आपसे बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. सब आपको घृणा भरी नजरों से देख रहे हैं. कोई आपसे बात नहीं कर रहा है. सब विस्पर आपको देख के ना सब विस्पर कर रहे हैं. देखा देखा उसके पापा ने ऐसा किया. अरे तुम्हें पता है उसकी मम्मी ने ऐसा किया. कैसा लगेगा आपको? आप 2 मिनट ऐसा प्रेशर झेल नहीं सकते और जिन बच्चों के माता पिता पिता ने क्राइम कमिट किया होता है उन्हें लाइफ लॉन्ग इस टैग के साथ जीना पड़ता है. The children whose parents have criminal background are at higher risk of increased antisocial behaviors and psychological problems such as depression. They are not equally treated well by the society, or we can say that the society sees them with the same spectacles as per their parents, which adversely affect child's mental health, which result in making them emotionally weak, loss of self-esteem, डेवलपमेंट ऑफ फियर गिल्ट एंड एंजाइटी. एग्जाम्पल के तौर पे देखिए किसी के पापा ने चोरी की है ना तो उसको समाज चोर का बेटा कह के बुलाएगा या चोर की बेटी कह के बुलाएगी. स्कूल में किसी का 1 रुपए 2 रुपए का पेन भी चोरी हो गया ना कहेंगे अरे चोर के बेटे ने ही चोरी की होगी. सी इससे ना दो तरह के इम्पैक्ट क्रिएट हो सकते हैं. The first impact is that child will become emotionally weak, depressed, or inferiority complex. And the second, which is most adverse effect, is that the child will become rebellion. He or she will try to do anti-social work as he or she will think कि जब मेरे पे ये टैग लग ही चुका है तो ये काम करके क्यों ना मैं पैसे ही कमा लूं. And the most adverse effect I would say that whose parents are in imprisonment, जिनके माता पिता जेल में हैं. One of the great philosophers once said that children of imprisoned parents are often described as the forgotten victim of imprisonment. They have to take on new roles following parental imprisonment in order to provide domestic, emotional, and functional support. They have to move from their native place and have to leave their schools. Now, the second one is educational outcome. Parents with criminal record face barrier of education and also they are not able to provide quality education to their children as no school would like to take admission of such students whose parents have criminal background. If by chance they got admission in such schools, they face bullying and thus they are not able to concentrate on their studies, and thus poor educational outcome is the result. Now, family strength and stability. As we all know, financial and emotional stressors associated with parental criminal record often poses challenges in maintaining healthy relationship and family stability. Now, if we talk about income and housing, parents with criminal record have lower earning potential and they other face major obstacle to securing employment and receiving public assistance. Now, I would like to invite Sejal to explain her point of view.
Good morning, everyone. Now, if we talk about the children from financially weaker backgrounds, it is quite evident that the children from financially weaker backgrounds have fallen behind over the years, and as the pandemic is going on, they are lagging behind. We know that the state government and the private schools do their best to provide them with some learning materials, with some facilities, but still they hardly get access to them. Now, if we talk about the challenges that the children from the financially weaker background face, then they include their inability to afford school supplies, because starting from the smallest thing like the pencil, eraser, or anything like that, and to the biggest thing like the gadgets, like computer, anything else, it requires money. They may not get required amount of sleep and they may be indulged in some job or money making practice. They may have less parent involvement because children from poorer background have less educated parents who are unable to provide learning support. For such children, the bullying rates are higher. As we are much aware of the rates of bullying among children, the most bullied children belong to the financially weaker background. And as a result, such children also might go into a state of depression or loneliness. Due to poverty, eating every day for such children might be a problem, because government have meals such as the midday meal or daycare meals, but after that time they face difficulty in arranging the meals like the night meal, the meal for the morning. Then the participation in the extracurricular activities might be a problem for them because it might cause a financial burden to them. Such children get a late start to the early childhood education. Sometimes kids from the poorer families can miss out on the basic development in their early years that happens in preschool or Anganwadis that helps them to set them on the path to success when they actually start school. Now we will talk about the children with bipolar nature. Emotional upheaval and unruly behaviors are a normal part of childhood and the teen years, and in most cases, they aren't a sign of mental health problem that requires treatment. All kids have rough periods. It's normal to feel down, irritable, angry, hyperactive, or rebellious at times. However, if your child's symptoms are severe, ongoing, or causing significant problems, it may be more than just a phase. Some of the signs and symptoms of bipolar disorder in children include severe mood swings that are different from the usual mood swings. Their hyperactiveness, impulsiveness, aggressiveness, or socially inappropriate behaviors. Their indulgence in alcohol or drug abuse, insomnia, their disability to sleep at nights. They are usually depressed or have irritable mood most of the day. They have grandiose or inflated views of one's capabilities. Such children also have suicidal thoughts. They are mainly shown in older children and teenagers, not the smaller ones. Children with bipolar disorder experience symptoms in distinct episodes. Between these episodes, children return to their usual behavior and mood. If your child has serious mood swings, depression, or behavioral problems, consult a medical health provider who specializes in working with children and teens. Mood and behavior issues caused by the bipolar disorder or other mental health conditions can lead to major difficulties. Early treatment can prevent serious consequences and decreases the impact of mental health problems on your child as he or she get old. Now, I would like to invite Samriti.
Good morning to everyone. The next topic we would like to cover is uninvolved parents. It means that the parents are not paying attention or they are not able to be much involved with the child in their daily routine. So, a child might get certain feelings, like a child will feel that the parents are not supportive or encouraging. It will also make him vulnerable as to whom he or she should go for advices, discussions, or encouragement. Also, sometimes parents being too busy with their work will not be able to attend a child's school activities, functions, PTMs. This will also affect the child's confidence and he might get a feeling of not being worthy enough. Every child needs someone with whom he or she can share their feelings. So when a parent fails to provide emotional support, the child will start finding someone with whom he or she can share his feelings, with whom he can rely on. This could also lead a child in the wrong direction. Meeting a wrong person or loneliness will give him a feeling that something or some person will help him to get out of this. He might get attracted to some kind of drug, alcohol, or anything which makes him happy. He will also try that his parents should listen to him. He will try to get attention of them by any wrong means. uh, in certain kind of news we listen that the child is planning his or her own kidnapping so that the parent focus on him or her. Even after trying, if he is not able to grab the attention, then he will get a feeling that it's his mistake and he has done something bad as his parents are ignoring him. So, if we try to look at the perspective of uninvolved parents from a positive side, then we can say that the child will develop a sense of responsibility at a very early stage, since he is doing his own things. He is being independent from the very start. Also, he learned his own problems at a very early age. Now let's see the childhood of children in nomadic families. First of all, what are nomads? Do any one of you know about nomads?
People
Nomads, people
nomads,
who
people
move
who
from
move
one
from
place
one
to
place to
another
another
in
for their
search of
livelihoods.
Yes, yes, thank
livelihood,
you.
food, and
Tribal people.
Thank you. So, nomads are people who move from one place to another after a certain period of time, and they do not stay at a particular place after a longer period of time. So, most of the nomads are engaged in seasonal activities and they earn through that. So, income in these kind of families is irregular, which results in lack of basic life necessities like food, shelter, and clothing. So, investing in a child's education doesn't even strike in their minds. Even if they want to get their ward enrolled in a school, it becomes tough for them due to the unavailability of documents required for the admission. They are usually not aware of the essential documents, and migration will also be a barrier in education. Before independence, some communities were called as criminal tribes under the Criminal Tribes Act 1871. The act got repealed after the independence, but the discrimination against these tribes still prevail in our society. Due to this, children belonging to these communities or these tribes may not feel comfortable, as they might fear that they will be bullied in the schools. They also might feel the sense of instability in terms that they'll be at another location after some time and feel distant to the friends they made at the earlier place. They tend to feel lonely too. Usually, children of tribal families are forced to engage in some kind of occupation at very early stage due to the financial instability of the family. Mostly girls of nomadic tribes or any kind of these tribes are forced to engage in household works at very early stage. If we try to look at the positive side, then we can say that children of nomadic tribes learn many new activities, new skills at very early stage as they meet new people, they go to new locations, they experience the new culture of every place they go to. So they have a different skills which they start acquiring at very young age. Now, Sadhna will proceed further. Over to you, Sadhna.
Good morning to one and all present here. My topic is homeless children. Street children are poor or homeless children who live on the streets of a city, town, or villages. As per UNICEF, boys or girls aged under 18 for whom the street has become home and their source of livelihood and who are inadequately protected or supervised. In India, estimated 1 million or more street children in each of the following cities are living: New Delhi, Kolkata, and Mumbai. When considering India as a whole, there are more than 11 million children who earn their living off from the streets in cities and rural areas. These are the several causes to be homeless. It might be family problems. Family problems includes various issues which can force a child to run away from their home, like clashes between their parents, no understanding between parents and children, as well as gender and identity crisis. Next cause be economic problems. Sometimes children leave their houses in order to seek financial support, but sometimes this decision doesn't prove fruitful and it traps the children into the cycle of poverty and homelessness. The next cause might be residential instability. Residential instability is also a major factor in our society, which covers various aspects like high housing cost, lack of generational wealth, and many people migrates from with their families from their villages or small towns to cities for a better life, due to which the vivacious cycle they have to spend their lives on footpath or streets. Now let's look on how effects of homeless children affect the child. Home, which is a basic need of life, which gives us protection and a minimum support or comfort to live and sleep. Being homeless affect a child in many ways. Homeless children have higher level of emotional and behavioral problems, like they have temperament issues, lack of social skills, as well as their mental health is neglected. They have increased risk of serious health problems like various nutritional deficiencies due to inadequate diet, as sometimes they are not even sure to a two-time meal once a day. They may experience separations from their families. They are unable to receive education, loss of self-esteem. They have increased danger of abuse and violence, increased the chance of entering the criminal system, and involvement in the malpractices like drug dependency. Now, my next topic is children facing violence against mother. In our society, the place of a mother is above the God. A mother is the one who can take place of all others, but no one can take her place. एक बच्चा दुनिया में सबसे ज्यादा प्यार अपनी माँ से करता है, और ये बहुत दुख की बात है जब वो बच्चा अपनी माँ को किसी भी प्रकार की हिंसा का शिकार होते हुए देखता है. उस हिंसा का सबसे ज्यादा प्रभाव उस बच्चे पर ही पड़ता है. There are so many factors which affect a child in such situations, like डेवलपमेंट ऑफ फियर, गिल्ट एंड एंजाइटी. जब एक बच्चा अपनी माँ को किसी प्रकार की हिंसा का शिकार होते हुए देखता है, तो उसके अंदर फियर, गिल्ट और एंजाइटी ये चीजें ऑटोमेटिकली डेवलप होने लगती हैं. उसके अंदर उस हिंसा का डर बैठ जाता है, जो कि उसके मेंटल डेवलपमेंट को भी इफेक्ट करता है, और वो अंदर ही अंदर उसके अंदर ये गिल्ट डेवलप होने लगता है कि मैं चाह करके भी ना तो खुद इस चीज से बच पा रहा हूँ, ना अपनी माँ की हेल्प कर पा रहा हूँ. And it may develop post-traumatic stress disorder, as well as in the serious condition of depression. It may cause silent condition, जहाँ बच्चा अपने thoughts और views को share करना बंद कर देता है, socialize होना बंद कर देता है, और अंदर ही अंदर घुटने लगता है. It may also cause physical injury, जिसमें कि हिंसा के दौरान बच्चे को या उसकी माँ को जब कोई टॉर्चर हो रहा होता है तो उसमें उसको फिजिकल इंजरी भी हिट कर सकती है, जो कि उसको फिजिकली के साथ साथ मेंटली भी इफेक्ट करती है. It may develop suicidal thoughts and even result in death. कई बार बच्चा ऐसी सिचुएशन में अपने आप पर कंट्रोल नहीं रख पाता और वो गलत वे पकड़ लेता है और सुसाइडल थॉट्स उसके दिमाग में डेवलप होने लग जाते हैं, जिसकी वजह से वो कभी कभी सुसाइड भी कमिट कर लेता है. एंड हार्मफुल यूज ऑफ अल्कोहल एंड ड्रग्स एंड फैमिली डिस्फंक्शन एंड सेपरेशंस. थैंक यू. नाउ ओवर टू प्रियंका फॉर द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक.
Thank you, Sadhna. Good morning, everyone. So my topic is children in boarding schools. I'm sure we've all heard of boarding schools, and some of you might have even been in one. A boarding school is an institution where children study and live on the premises. They're away from their parents, and they only go home during the holidays. So some reasons why children might be sent to boarding schools are some parents might send their kids because they want to establish the kids' independence and self-reliance. They hope that they will go there and get some life skills, while others send them since in boarding schools there are very specific timings and places for everything. For example, you might know that there's a specific set time to wake up at, to study, and then to have dinner. Even sleeping has a set specific timing. So parents believe that this will instill a sense of discipline in their wards. Other reasons might be that the parents might not get along well, or they are in the process of, or already are divorced. So they might not deem it fit that their children will live at home in a very unstable environment, so they send them off. While other parents are busy and believe that their children will be taken better care of in boarding schools. Some children end up there because their parents have died and their immediate family can't take care of them. Or it can also be after winning a scholarship. So, psychological and social effects of boarding schools. Establishment of trust and security through a primary caregiver is very crucial for a child's development. If the child is left at a boarding school, they will have a sense of loss of love, security. The child may think, my parents don't love me. If they did, never in a million years would they have abandoned me here. Did I do something wrong? If the child is flexible, is not highly sensitive, and has been in social circles before, boarding school experience can be pretty good. But if the child is sensitive and he feels isolated there, boarding schools can be very toxic and can lead to childhood depression, anxiety disorders, and childhood phobias. Also, the repetitive nature of being sent away to boarding schools after holidays, which is experienced after every term, disorients the child, and it prevents them from settling in one place, which can lead to psychological splitting between the home self and the boarding school self. Here, children appear to be well adjusted and confident, lekin they experience emotional numbness, difficulties in intimate relationships, they have problems with anger, depression, anxiety, fear of abandonment, even go to substance abuse, emotional withdrawal, dissociation, and all this may manifest in a sense of feeling permanently distant from the world. They may not be able to tell their parents they're suffering. And the syndrome is called boarding school syndrome. It was named by psychoanalyst Joy Cheverian. While their lack of distractions and boarding schools seem to provide the perfect environment for excellence in studies, but the thing is, in reality, they can turn out to be quite a pressure chamber. Because in regular schools, a child can leave the school after the whole activity for the day is done. But in boarding schools, they're coped up in that small environment, and all they have to think about is studies. But it's not that boarding schools are only bad for children. Boarding schools can also be good, especially for children whose parents and lives at homes were deficient in love, and there was no proper structure at home. So for these children, better attachments are made at boarding schools. And boarding schools also lead to sibling groups. And these groups then compensate for the loss of family and other people. Children usually who go to boarding schools are better adapted to life in very regimented professions like army, law, and now my next topic is children with substance abuse. So substance abuse is very excessive consumption of alcohol, tobacco, e-cigarettes, marijuana, prescription drugs or non-prescription drugs like cocaine, anabolic steroids, methamphetamines, heroin, etc. And consumption of these licit and illicit substances has increased over the world. And the age at which this abuse begins is progressively decreasing. The most common drug which is abused among children in India is tobacco and alcohol. And use of illicit drugs like cannabis and heroin has also been reported in India. A high prevalence of drug use, even intravenous, among street kids and working children is also a matter of concern. So some factors influencing use of these substances is children whose parents or relatives abuse these substances are more prone to doing the same. Since it's easier to access it, they might get curious and wonder how bad could it really be if my dad uses it all the time or if my mom uses it. Another reason could be their role models, such as celebrities who smoke. If children might think that my role model looks so cool doing this, they'll try to emulate them, which will lead to them also getting addicted. Then there's peer pressure. If their friend group uses them, they might want to try to get with the group, and they will have the sense of pressure that I have to do this as well to get in the group. Then there is poor problem solving abilities, lack of self-esteem, and other high risk behaviors, like for girls especially if they're excessively dieting, or for boys if they're getting into physical fighting, drunk driving, or some other things. This alcohol and other substance abuses can have very bad effects on children, especially psychological changes can happen, like it can lead to behavior problems with things like anxiety, depressions, mood swings. Behavior changes can happen. Children can become very aggressive and start stealing. It also affects behavior variables, like children cannot pay attention to their studies, or they don't interact with their fellow classmates or teachers in a very positive manner. The other thing is it can have physical effects. Like it can lead to fatigue, repeated health complaints, red and glazed eyes, lasting cough, and deterioration in weight. And also their hygiene gets very bad. So now over to Shelja.
Good morning, everyone. My topic is children with strict parents. All parents love their children, but they have a different way of dealing with their children and their problems. Strict parents teach their children self discipline by holding them accountable. These parents have their kids' best interest at heart. These parents view academic success as a priority and judge the effectiveness of their parenting by their children's performance in school. This type of parenting can result in high academic performance. But even though after this, often after high academic performance, such children suffer from sleep deprivation, eating disorders, anxiety, and very low self-esteem. When parents discipline their children with punitive emotions, force, threat, verbal and harsh punishments, they model how to react punitively when they're upset. As a result, the children have learned to become more rebellious, angry, impulsive, and aggressive when things don't go their way. Therefore, they get punished even more. These kids are also more likely to engage in risky behavior, such as running away from home. Super strict parents create sneaky child. These children have learned to become good actors. They behave well at home but act differently when the parents are not around, because the parents do not provide a safe environment for the kids to tell the truth. Kids raised with strict rules are good at lying and hiding, and thus undermines the relationship of parent and child. My next topic is parents with special needs. Parents with special needs, the lack of physical presence of parents in school can affect the child. Being a specially abled parent or parents, it can become difficult for them to be present for their ward in every function and parent-teacher meeting. So a child might feel that my parents aren't with me while everyone else's parents are present. It might affect the child's relationship with his parents. The child might feel neglected. As we discussed, that specially able parents can be there sometimes, so a child can feel neglected or ignorant. When he or she sees that his or her friends or peers are playing, cycling, or doing anything with their parents and they are not able to do it, they might feel that they are not loved enough by their parents. child might feel unattached to parents in early childhood. Due to misunderstanding or being ignored, a child might feel lonely and unattached to the parent. Since a child doesn't understand certain things at a very young age, he or she won't be able to understand his or her parent's condition and therefore misunderstand the problem as unattachment. Feeling of disappointment by parents. Children might feel disappointed with their parents due to all the points mentioned above. They might feel sad and irritated too. Sometimes such children have a feeling of why me. Since a child won't be able to understand the condition, one can get a feel of why it is happening to only me and not my friends. Am I that bad? Child might also start questioning himself or herself. There are not just negative points associated with it, there are positive impacts as well. Children who live with parents with a sensory disability develop greater emotional skills. Empathy is their ability to feel and take the perspective of someone who is in a different situation than they are. They are independent and have the habit of doing their things on their own since a very young age. They are very much more sensitive towards people and kids at their age. Now I will like to hand it over to Sana.
Thank you, Shelja. Good morning, everyone. Now, my topic for different childhood is childhood of children with the socio-economic status. Now, true by the socio-economic status, we mean the families who have a higher socio-economic background, because I would include both higher and lower socioeconomic status, but we have already discussed, my friend with Shelja, that of the children with the with the financially weaker background. Now, the children with the higher socio-economic status, they have a great impact on their cognitive development. How? Because children with a higher socioeconomic status, they have already been facilitated with everything. They are provided with everything, so their parents put extra pressure or focus to excel in every field through money. So they have higher cognitive development, we might say, because parents would indulge in specific plans or many classes that would include child at an early age through money. They would spend lot of money. Secondly, impact on emotional development. The child who have been under in the families of higher socioeconomic status, they are tend to be more emotional or sensitive, because they have been kept in an overprotective environment. As we have seen that the uh, a little hurt or the little you, a break or fall of a child would tend parents to get overprotected towards them. So they have higher emotional development, higher not emotional development, they have a sensitive emotional development. Now, psychological health. Children with higher SES, they have a psychology that my parents would provide me everything. They have everything, so they tend to less struggle for themselves. They have everything, so they don't have to struggle for everything. They allow their parents to ask them ki मुझे ये चाहिए, so they ask their parents, and if they don't get it, then they would question कि आपके पास तो सब कुछ, आप मुझे दे नहीं सकते. Now, family well-being, there are positive aspects also. The family well-being, higher family well-being is related to higher hygiene, higher language problem, higher language status, and physical health, good physical health. Now, the low point of higher SES is that the parents of that child bounds them with her creativity, with money. So when a child wants to do something, they don't push their child to act on their own. They just help their child कि मैं जितना हो सकता है मैं अपने लिए करूं, मैं इन्हीं के लिए तो कर रहा हूं. That's their thinking. So their creativity gets bound. So they are more indulged to everything, spoon feeding, what we say. So this is the last point of higher socioeconomic economic status. Now, the next topic for me is the childhood of a special child. Now, this is a very special category, because we have seen different children. We have discussed the childhood of normal children physically, but here the special child refers to the child who have a physical or mental inability, be it what we say, any kind of inability that is not considered as normal. So these children have a slow developmental pace. What we consider something normal at an age, like at the age of 2, the child may be able to run or talk or something. But with the child with physical or mental inability, they would they would have a slow developmental pace. They are unable to grasp things, uh, what is considered normal at their age. Second is
I think there is some network problem with Sana. Am I audible to everyone?
am I audible? Sorry
Yes,
ma'am, my connection got disrupted.
yes, ma'am.
मैम इंदू मैम वेट कर रही हैं क्लास के लिए.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Just
Okay.
please wrap it up.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, ma'am. Okay. So most of this childhood span is spent overcoming those things, those challenges that are normal for every child. As I was explaining, I have seen a child with rheumatoid arthritis. So she is has been struggling with that for 15 years. So when she goes to school, every child there plays, goes run around here and there. But she has a problem in overcoming that. She has a problem. She can't go out and she can't have lunch. She can't go out of the class because she is unable to do normal activities. So the impact of this is that children have a low self esteem. They're usually underconfident. They think that whether I may be able to do this or not. They have a low self esteem in the usual daily task also. They're sensitive towards inabilities. They are very sensitive towards inabilities because whenever someone points out to them or someone see them through that significant gaze, they might feel something that okay, I'm not normal. Now they have an they are their parents usually put an extra push for them to cope with others. They are not good at social interaction because children would see them कि इसे पता नहीं क्या हो गया, इसे क्या हो रहा है. They question themselves. So they have to get an extra push to socialize with others. The environment, the parents of such child are very patient and they're sensitive towards them. And the teachers also, they are very, the environment must be natural, patient and welcoming and supporting, being less it from their parents, teachers and friends. For the education, they require special teachers and trainers. They are always in the protective environment because their parents are always in constant worry whether the child would be able to cope up or not. They always need an extra help, be it from their parents, their teachers, their friends or any guardian. They have a hard time making friends because to make friends or to get socialized, some other have to think that no, it is also okay, this is the part of it, they are also like us. So that thinking is very difficult to inculcate, especially in child. So they have a very high, very different, very challenging time to make friends. uh, they need more time to accept that they are special. They need more time. By the time they grew up, they accept normally that yes, this is something that is being with me through the life. So they have a hard time accepting that this is a special gift, that they are being overwhelmed. They are enrolled in many early programs for the development to they have enrolled in an early development program to cope up with other developmental paces in children. They have a constant fear of paramedical service providers, like if they go for a doctor or they go for a therapy. So they have a constant fear of that. That's all for my topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, tutorial 4. Ma'am, shall we carry on with tutorial 5 for this
No,
next
no.
class?
We will resume it in our next lecture. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
ट्यूटोरियल 5 वैसे बहुत सारा टाइम ट्यूटोरियल 4 ने ले लिया, चलिए नेक्स्ट एक क्लास और हमारी इसके लिए जाएगी। बीच में अगर कभी भी ऐसा होता है कोई टीचर अगर अनवेल होता है या जैसे अभी शाइनी मैम क्लास नहीं ले पाई थी कल, इस तरह से कुछ होता है तो मैं कोशिश करूंगी कि मैं वो वाला पीरियड मैं ले लूँ, ठीक है? तो हम उसमें इसको कंप्लीट कर लेंगे। उसके साथ साथ जो मैंने आप लोगों को बताया था लास्ट में कि हमने थर्ड यूनिट के जो टॉपिक डिस्कस करने हैं सोशलाइजेशन वाले, वो प्लीज़ अपने साथ के साथ कंटिन्यू करते रहिए क्योंकि हमारा जो नेक्स्ट डिस्कशन होगा वहाँ से शुरू होगा। ओके, मैंने
ओके
आपको
मैम।
लिंक भेजा है आपके ग्रुप में। प्लीज़ उस शीट को खोल के 2-2 मिनट लगेंगे जब तक मैम अटेंडेंस लेती हैं या जैसे भी आप